10,000!
In this episode of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers MinuteCast, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are last chance you again for players like Le'Veon Bell. Leonard Fournette mentioned that last fall about the Bucs, about him and Richard Sherman. Well, it happened again. The Bucs pick up running back Le'Veon Bell and hope that he can fill the void where Leonard Fournette left off. Tyler Johnson said he's taken a lot of small things from Chris Godwin's game. Bruce Arians says he's hopeful that they get Mike Evans back soon. Bruce Arians says the Bucs' young receivers will have an opportunity to play the positions they practiced at this week. Ryan Jensen says there's no panic in the Bucs locker room. All of that and more next on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers MinuteCast. Keep it right here.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers MinuteCast starts right now. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers MinuteCast.
Hello and welcome into the Tampa Bay Buccaneers MinuteCast. Well, that was the news breaking today, or I guess it was last night. The Bucs pick up a depth running back in the form of Le'Veon Bell. You might be thinking, why are they picking him up? Well, if you don't remember, Leonard Fournette was injured in the game, so all that leaves them at the running back position is Keyshawn Vaughn and Ronald Jones, so they had to make an acquisition. They had Giovanni Bernard, but he was also injured, so they really need to fill that void. Word has it that Leonard Fournette may be back in time for the playoffs. I have my fingers crossed, as I'm sure most of all of you do as well. The Buccaneers take on the Panthers this weekend. They're in last place in the NFC South, so it shouldn't be that big of a battle. They got kind of that crazy situation at quarterback, so I think all the Buccaneers need to do is go out there and play their game, and they should have great success and hopefully lock up the NFC South. Before we get going here, this podcast is available on all the major platforms. When you're there, do me a favor and click the follow or subscribe button. That way you'll be one of the first to hear the new pods when they come out. Let's see what's going on with the Bucs this week. The Bucs have placed wide receiver Chris Godwin and Patrick O'Connor on injured reserve. The Bucs make the Le'Veon Bell signing official. Bruce Arians says the Bucs' young receivers will have an opportunity to play the positions they practiced at this week, as opposed to Sunday's games when they were thrust into different roles. And you kind of seen the younger players struggle a little bit, but like I say, it's not totally on them. They don't get a lot of reps. A lot of these guys kind of vacillate between the team and the practice squad. I think if there's a lesson that could be learned is to really put these guys through their paces and make sure that they're fit and ready to play when called upon. Bruce Arians says it's too early to know if Lavonte David or Leonard Fournette will need to go on the IR. From the sounds of it, it sounds like they will be out through the rest of the regular season and hopefully make a return in the postseason. So, it seems kind of bad on the surface of it, but if they are able to come back, at least we know they will be well rested. Ryan Jensen says the Bucs offensive line always wants to take over games, and now they really need to with all the starting skill players the team lost. Jensen goes on to say there's no panic in the Bucs locker room after one loss. Says the Bucs laid an egg Sunday, but no doubt has crept in because of it. It's hard to kind of keep an even keel attitude. I saw the thing that Chris Godwin posted, which was really positive, and you got to make the best of a worst opportunity. Okay, so he said that, and I don't know how much faith or trust to put in this, but I saw in a TMZ article that his wife was saying that he's pretty devastated by this and that he's having a hard time with it. So you'll hear one thing through a PR firm and then something different through your significant other or wife. Ryan Jensen says the new Bucs, Le'Veon Bell really fits the Bucs running scheme well, that a lot of things Bell did well in Pittsburgh are a part of the Bucs offense. Now, Le'Veon Bell is a guy that's played for a few different teams since 2020 even. Beggars can't be choosers, as they say. And if you look at who the Bucs have right now in the backfield at the running back position, so they have Ronald Jones, Giovanni Bernard and Keyshawn Vaughn. So they definitely did need some depth to pick up because Giovanni Bernard, scratch him, he's no longer on the team. He's on the IR. So they won't have him at their disposal for the rest of the season. The depth that the Bucs acquired in the offseason, I mean, there was a lot of talk around people saying, what are they doing, amassing all these players? Where are they going to fit? Well, as it turns out, they probably didn't even get enough. I think that the NFL could really use more of a minor league system similar to what Major League Baseball and hockey and the like, what they do. It just seems like they have the practice squad, but it's kind of insufficient. If you had, a minor league type team out there that was getting reps on the field, it might be beneficial when called upon, so you don't have these guys like Ronald Jones that are winded or Keyshawn Vaughn or any of these guys that just don't get a lot of playing time. Le'Veon Bell says he's really comfortable with a lot of Bucs verbiage. All right, going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers MinuteCast is a part of Bucs Life. You can find them online at bucslifemedia.com, on Facebook, Bucs Life News LLC 19.
Like I said, once you get that phone call and kind of like, oh yes, like this is it, and it's just something that I didn't even think twice about, once I got the call, it's like, yeah, let's go. Like, this is it. This is what I've been waiting for. This is the time. So I think all the, workouts and boxing that I have been doing to stay in shape, I think it's only going to help me for what I'm going to feel, because, this is like literally the best physical form I feel like I've ever been in my life. So I'm excited.
He has heard so far, was able to pick up a lot of the offense today, and that's not too surprising. He's a guy that's been in the league forever. It would be nice if they were able to get the Le'Veon Bell from years ago, but nonetheless, this is the one that they have, and like I say, you got to go with what you have. Le'Veon Bell says Tom Brady pulled him aside on the practice field today and told him that if he needed anything in order to be comfortable on the team, to come by to Brady first. I mean, he's the guy that makes all the calls. He's been called the offensive coordinator on the field, and as far as a guy that knows what's going on, there's no one better than Tom Brady to get some information from. Kevin Minter says the Bucs will be stepping up. Their injured teammates don't need to feel pressure. Just do your job. You're here for a reason, and I think to a certain extent that's what happened in the Saints game, is that the Bucs just got caught in their own mind. There was injured players coming out, there was turnovers, that kind of thing, and I think that it's easy to get rattled. Even professional athletes can get rattled and just worry about the thing and the task at hand. Le'Veon Bell talks about here on joining the Bucs.
I'm not even lie. Like, I got to the point where, I had thought about kind of calling it quits. To the fact that it kind of wasn't working out for me for the last couple spots I've been at. This was literally the only spot that I felt like could have made me want to play football and go out there and be excited to play. This was literally the only place that could have called me out and got me to really play, because I was going to start boxing and focusing on boxing, but I think this was a great opportunity. It's something you can't really turn down, playing with Coach Arians and Tom Brady and obviously AB. They got a good thing going over here, come over here and try to help.
I mean, if there's any team that could breathe new life into a player, I think it's the Bucs. They have all the ingredients in the pot. They're stirring it. All they need to do is add a couple more players, and I think they're going to have a good recipe for success. It was a walk-through practice, but Coach Bruce Arians said Antonio Brown looked as good as he did before the injury, and he's a guy that always keeps himself in shape, so I don't think there's quite that curve that a lot of the other players that don't play as often deal with. If you watch some of his videos, he's constantly keeping in really good shape, so I think they're going to be just fine with Antonio Brown. I see in some footage here that Mike Edwards has also returned from the suspended list, so good to see some good additions back to the team. Jamal Dean, who has some illness that made him quote-unquote foggy, was out at practice. They're still trying to determine what is wrong with Jamal Dean. At first, they kind of thought it might be COVID, but as it turns out, it might be something more. Tyler Johnson said he's taken a lot of small things from Chris Godwin's game and applied it to his own. That should come in handy as he helps fill the void this season. And if you remember, at the end of last season, there was a lot of players that stepped up. Scotty Miller, who was best known when Tom Brady aired it out to him against Green Bay. So I don't think all hope is lost. I just think they have an uphill battle. Like I say, who knows who's going to be on the team once they get going. They might get Fournette back. They might get Fournette and David back. So just trying to keep positive as best that you can. Le'Veon Bell says, I can play as many plays as they need me on Sunday.